What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and I'm back at it with
Gershwan.
and welcome back to another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first.
And that is what the mighty Cole Adams has done. His question is, he is mighty. What lesser or enslaved race would you like to see grow into their own lore and tabletop army? This is his sixth try.
There's so many options to choose from. We could even go like our runner-ups.
What is it, like top three then?
We could do top three. Sure.
Top three. Number 3 for me is the Hrud. The Hrud are like these garbage / like worm-like creatures that are covered in rags, and they're not much of a threat, but together they cause time anomalies, either causing time to speed up, pause, or reverse. That's pretty crazy.
Because in the tabletop game, can you think of the awesome gaming mechanics you can do with time travel to the point where it's like your opponent just had a whole round of shooting. All of a sudden, the HUD guy plays a, what is it called, stratagem. And then all of a sudden, everything gets erased. That'd be badass.
Yeah, like, think of it like Necrons coming back almost. It's like, oh, nope, those wounds didn't happen. Or it's like, oh, you're about to shoot me? No, I used my stratagem to charge you.
Oh, yeah, that would be really badass. So the gaming mechanics for the HUD would be really cool.
Yeah, because you could even use that in the movement phase. Deep strike, and meaning that you actually moved ahead in time or back. That's crazy. That's cool. Yep. That's actually should be even higher up now that I think about it. Damn.
The HUD?
Yeah.
Well, I think because that's a gaming mechanic we really find fun.
Right.
We just recently started playing Age of Sigmar, and the thing about Age of Sigmar is that there is a lot of
tactics, strategy.
Yeah.
Also, unknowns with like the turns. You could go first one turn and then go second to next, and yeah.
Yeah. So if you have an actual army that has tools to like make your opponent think like, wait, should I do this? Because he could just do this. I know he can do that. It changes the game from just like I'm gonna stand here and shoot.
Or I picked the best army right now. I won before even playing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would be really cool. Another race that would be fun to play would be the Rakghoul. The Rakghoul are pretty cool because they're aggressive, but then at the same time,
they're pretty technologically advanced.
Yeah. So you could have like big units. I think they would be like a good combination of crew and Tau. So like instead of having them as like, oh, the crew are an auxiliary, like no, everything is put together. And you might even be able to play them as like an elite shooter. Can you imagine like Rakghouls, like maybe a squad of 5 Rakghouls, but like with guns capable of like taking down an infantry line pretty easily? That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be really badass.
And then their lore is just really cool. They're specific to a certain sector, but there's a lot of mystery to them that I think would be fun to build on for GW.
Yeah. The second army that I think would be a pretty cool, interesting take, there's very little on it, but it is, I forgot what they're called. They're essentially like angelic beings that the Blood Angels and the Luna Wolves were fighting back during the Horus Heresy. They used to like, if any human like saw them, they were under their control, and they were difficult to take down, and it required like the Blood Angels and the Luna Wolves to take down. So like they were pretty big of a threat. I just can't remember what they're called. They were in the books, the Horus Heresy novels. But yeah, those things, ever since I first read about them, like they've always like stuck in my mind. It just sucks that I can't remember what they're called.
Are they connected to the little familiars that follow the Space Marines around at all?
Not that I'm aware of, but who knows?
My second choice would be the Squats. The Squats already existed in the past. The very early editions had basically space dwarves, and nowadays with like kit bashing and the Age of Sigmar line, what is it called? The guys with the balloons and like the...
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, the Age of Sigmar has a specific dwarf faction that is very like steampunk and technological. Like they have guns. That would be really cool to convert over to 40K as long as you had like a codex that you can go off of. So I think the other faction that would be really good for 40K would be just the squats.
Ooh, go off, sis.
And they would be they would be special, or they would be an army uniquely capable of destroying hordes because of their huge like anger and or what is it called, their resentment towards the Tyranids. That's their whole point. Like the Tyranids destroyed their race. They might be like one of the very last squat planets, and they want to destroy anything that is hordy. Like the Tyranids and like the orcs, which in the lore, the squats and the orcs also don't get along.
Right.
They usually always fight each other. Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think my first choice would be I always forget what they're called. They're the polar bears that are auxiliaries to the Tau. Just the overall aesthetic to them, like they're polar bears, if I can speak, that float on like little warp clouds. They're essentially the what is it called? Navigators of the Tau ships. They could kind of traverse warps and do that kind of stuff. And to see a whole army of these cute little cuddly things in the grimdark universe of 40K would be pretty cool.
For me, I think I have another kind of runner-up, and that would be the Smelt Rats. The Smelt Rats are
Skaven.
They're basically the Skaven of 40K with a technological twist. So instead of worshiping like the rat chaos god or whatever,
the great horned rat. Rat chaos god or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We just started playing Age of Sigmar. Yeah. And Old World's coming back, so that lore's coming back too. Anyways, it would be cool to have Smelt Rats because they would incorporate things that the Imperium already has, so like las weapons, and like you could basically convert an Imperial Guard army into like a Smelt Rat codex. But then that kind of leads over to my number one pick, which would be just a mercenary codex. So if we can get a faction within Warhammer 40K that's made up of all of these lesser species,
right, like the other category,
and they can fight for like a renegade rogue trader, a renegade planetary governor, if you even want to give them like a centralized HQ, you don't necessarily have to. They could work like any other faction where they're like building up a force, and it's like a war band of like mismatch mercenaries.
And I think that works best for everything we named, just because there's really like you'd have to make so much lore, so much like supporting units for every minor race that it's just easier to just lop them all together as mercenaries.
Yeah, and it would be kind of cool to see a mercenary codex that allows you to use minis from like Blackstone Fortress or
Necromunda.
Yeah, whereas like nowadays you can, but it kind of has to. Like, it looks goofy when you use a Blackstone Fortress mini in, like, a unit of... Or, like, in a... any type of army in 40K.
They're bigger, aren't they?
No, they're the same.
They're the same size?
Yeah, they're the same size.
I thought the Kroot was, like, a lot taller than the other Kroot.
Well, I think that's because that was metal and these are plastic. Like, the old Kroot were metal unless you get, like, the normal Kroot. What is it called? The Shapers were metal?
Oh, yeah, they were metal.
Yeah. Yep. But, yeah. Good question, though.
Yeah, very interesting. What would you guys pick? If you had to pick a lesser-known race to be a new playable faction, who and why?
Yeah, mutants would be cool, too.
Oh, the Minotaurs?
Next question comes from... do you have one?
This one is by Kodojo. Will the 2 remaining Catan gods ever be revived? There's more than 2. The Catan all got fractured into shards, and they were kind of spread out throughout the universe. So as far as I know, they're all there, but in order for them to go back to their strength from back in the day when they were unsharded, yeah, that's funny to say. You have to literally get all the shards, combine them together, and then they'll become godly in power.
What about the Void Dragon? Is the Void Dragon a complete Catan?
The Void Dragon is the only one that may be full and intact, and that may be what's underneath the sands of Mars and what the Skitarii and the Adeptus Mechanicus is calling the Omnissiah. And he may be responsible for the machine spirit. This is all speculation, this is all theory, but in my heart, it's truth. And isn't that what matters, especially during these festive holiday seasons?
Yes. Next question comes from Daniel Peak. In D&D, there is a creature called a worm that walks. Do y'all think that's what Typhus looks like under his armor, but maybe flies instead of worms? Typhus is... I thought he just had like regular Space Marine armor.
No, he's got like Terminator armor.
Oh.
Remember, that's the Terminator...
With the scythe?
Yeah, with the scythe, yep.
Oh, but there's nothing... nothing would make him like a worm, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's just a regular Space Marine underneath that, all like nasty and ergofied, but I don't think he's a worm.
The closest thing... Unless I read it wrong. That walks. No, a worm that walks. Unless we... Like, the closest thing is Fulgrim. Like, Fulgrim is supposed to be a snake person. No, he's supposed to be like... In D&D, there's a race called... Is it... Why do I want to say Nagash? But that's not true.
No. What are you talking about?
Well, they're like serpent creatures.
It is Nagash, the snakes. Right?
Yeah. With like, so that's basically Fulgrim. So that's pretty cool.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
I feel
it's
like
Naga.
Naga. There you go. Yeah.
Nagash is from Age of Sigmar.
Now, for something that's made up of multiple worms, the Hrud, we just talked about them. Mm-hmm. They would be a representation of like a being that is made up of small worms, which maggots. I just wanted to say maggots.
Yuck.
Next question.
This one's by Shipwreck Matt. Ooh, he's sending us an SOS. Hey, OMS, love your content. You're both my top lads.
Thank you.
My question is, so I'm currently building a Tau army, and I have around 2k points worth of many larger battlesuits. I have a bunch of Chaos, Tyranids, and random Grim Dark Evil bits. How would you guys go about converting Tau battlesuits to be chaotically tainted? Any suggestions for how they can become traitorous?
So I responded to you through text. I thought you received it because you've been asking that question in a lot of videos, but I responded in the very beginning of the week. I'll tell you firsthand and in person. Well, not really, because this is being recorded a day in the past. But anyways, what the recommendation that I gave to you is use spiky bits and attach them to the shoulder plates of your Tau, either battle suits or fire warriors. Also, take the actual armor of these battle suits, so like the what is it called, the leg plates and the shoulder plates, and chip little like V indents into them to make it look like they're tattered and they're being like the mutation of the Chaos God is pushing the armor up and it's cracking the armor. You can even go as far as taking a shoulder plate and snapping it in half and then reattaching it, putting green stuff on the bottom to make it look like the body inside of the battlesuit, it has mutated to the point where it's like popping out like pus, like just ready to burst. Those are some ways.
Yeah. As to how they can fall to chaos, well, even though they're barely registered in the warp, they do tend to follow the Chaos Gods by one way or another. This happened on the dead world of Arthas Malak, where Farsight fought against Chaos. So you could say that maybe these Chaos Tau are the survivors or the reanimated bodies of the Tau that were slain on Arthas Malak. And since the Tau left that planet, then they have that resentment, and maybe they're trying to grab the Dawnblade or something for one chaotic reason or another.
Yeah. And then as far as like going back to the conversion thing, I feel like if the easiest way to convert them just by painting them a different color would be by aligning them to Chaos Undivided or Tzeentch, because usually Tzeentch doesn't do like mutating corruption or mutating gifts. And then the next one would be Slanesh, because with Slanesh, it's easier just to like elongate the limbs of your battle suits and your warriors. And then the next one would be Khorne, just because Khorne just attach a bunch of spiky bits.
Yeah.
But then it really wouldn't blend well with the lore of Tau, just because fire warriors are.
They're not good in close combat. They're physically smaller, not as strong. They have bad depth perception.
Yeah. And then the easiest conversion would be Nurgle, because you could do everything that I said, plus make small holes. Grab like a toothpick or something. Not a toothpick. What are they called? Thumbtack.
Yeah. Just get a honeycomb and stick it on it.
Yeah. On Instagram, there's a couple guys that I follow that do a really good job. They do a really good job at teaching you how to texture your minis. So adding like sawdust, adding like shrubs that you find outside, and attaching it to your minis in a way that doesn't look like you just went outside, grabbed dirt, and you threw it on your minis.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the guy that I'm talking about. Let me look through the thing, and then we'll answer another question, and I'll let you know.
Alrighty. This one is by Daniel O'Neill. Are you related to Shaquille O'Neal? So his question is, if the traitorous sons never turned against the Emperor, what do you think each of their roles would have been? Probably just attaining more followers for Chaos, trying to build their forces before actually going ahead and fighting the Imperium and the Emperor and all that. Because the more followers Chaos gets, the stronger the Chaos Gods become. The stronger the Chaos Gods become, the more power they can give to their followers. And it's just an endless cycle of getting more followers, strengthening up their gods, getting stronger mutation and boons, until they just overwhelm everything else in the galaxy. And that's kind of what Chaos has been doing this whole time, just at a slower pace, because they lost the heresy. Their main leader, Horus, he's gone. He was erased from existence because of the Emperor. So that really kind of put a stop to the leadership, the charisma, and all that Horus had. And as you can see that, because in the Black Crusades, they always fail. Like you get to a certain point and then they're done. However, they kind of contradict this by saying that like nothing is really hurting Chaos. Like still, Abaddon is getting his like primary or secondary objective done. He's just not like destroying what he needs to. Cadia was probably the closest thing towards an ultimate victory for Chaos, but nothing along the scope and devastation of the heresy. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, hopefully. As I continue to look for the Instagram page that I was talking about, you have another question?
Yeah, this one is by Article 9. What are the essential 40K books to get caught up with the current lore? For those of us who have only played the video games and only read like 1 or 2 books.
We get all of our lore from the Codex.
Yeah, I'd say just go with the rule book, because that would give you lore on every faction, kind of bring you up to speed as to what's going on. And they do have like a timeline in there, so you can kind of see the main events leading up to where we are now, which is the Psychic Awakening.
And the cool thing about that too is that you have the rule book, so you can play.
Yeah.
Because really, the fun part about the hobby is building your army. So like, you might know all the lore, or you might learn about the lore, but until you start using the lore to create your own Chaos Warband or Space Marine chapter or whatever you're into, that's when it really starts to get fun.
Yeah.
That's when, like, you know, when you were creating your Celestial Sons and all that kind of stuff, that's when, like, the hobby truly feels like your own.
Right.
When you know the lore, you're creating an army, and then you play it. Sometimes you don't even have to play it.
Yeah, because sometimes you're just like, oh, I make my warlord, and it's like, it's just a generic dude, but now it's like, you're not just playing a generic warlord, you're playing Captain Makaros, the Undaunted, who has slain 20,000 orc warlords, and he's now on for his 21st.
Yes.
That kind of gives you more oomph to your playstyle.
Now, I have the YouTube channel that I was talking, or not the YouTube channel. I have the Instagram page that I was talking about. It's totally_not_panicking.
Totally not panicking.
Yeah. He's really awesome. So shout out to him because he does a really good job of texturing his minis. And he actually even gives you a small little tutorial later on in or if you go in his history, I think, or in his stories. But he shows you like what type of material to look for in order to texture your minis. Because half of the time it is things that you could just find outside. But the way that he actually puts it onto the model, it just makes it look chaotic. So doing that to a Tau army would make it look cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. But those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. We enjoy answering these questions. Sorry this video went on a little longer than normal. But yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, así es la vida, la caprichosa. This is the Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
and we are out of here.